Yes, yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to uh, my debut show, Rich Talk with A. Rich. I hope everybody's having a great day today. I appreciate everybody for first of all tuning in and staying patient with me while I get my show together. And I wanted to, and this is a guy that you see me with before, you see me with now, you're going to see me with in the future. My brother Dan Kelly to get here to discuss cut down day for the Buffalo Bills. Dan, how you doing?
It's the return, man. It's exciting. Obviously, Bills cut down to 53 today. I'm excited to be here to speak with you, Way Rich. If I was gonna come back, the only person that I was gonna come back with was Akeem Richens. Call it a spade here, man. And that's the first time I heard the title of the show. So I'm honored to be the first guest and honored to make some more appearances throughout the season as well.
Absolutely, and I appreciate you. And we're going to have a lot of good discussion on tonight's show. But if you're watching on X, please give this a retweet, give this a like. If you're watching on YouTube, if you haven't subscribed to the Built in Buffalo YouTube channel, please do so. Give this a like while you're at it. If you're watching on my Twitch, King Rich underscore 987, welcome. Appreciate you for tuning in today. And last but not least, if you're watching on Facebook, give this a like, give this a share. Myself, A Rich, Dan Kelly. But let's get into it, right? The Buffalo Bills, obviously, the NFL had their cut down day, and the Buffalo Bills got down to their 53-man roster, and that's where we're going to get into. That's where we're going to discuss whether that the roster remains the same before September 7th for that date with the Baltimore Ravens. We'll see. But for now,
Oh, we know it won't, hey Rich. That's going to be Jordan Phillips somewhere, whether it's practice squad, whether it's 53. Hoyt and Ogunjobi have to move to the suspended list. Did that happen
mm,
today?
I believe so. I believe so. I
Okay,
believe that has happened today. Yep, that has
gotcha.
happened today.
Okay, fantastic. But before we get started with getting into the roster, I want to
Mhm,
ask my first
mhm,
question for you. NFL teams have to cut down to 53 players, right? We
mhm,
all know the numbers.
mhm.
I'm gonna give you 54. You get
Okay.
54 players.
Okay.
Add one of the guys that the Bills cut today to the team. Who is it and why?
Oh, I think that's an excellent question. When you think about some guys that did get cut, you got KJ Hamler, who I think performed well for the Buffalo Bills. But the six receivers that the Buffalo Bills do have, I believe that's the sixth best group of receivers, six combination best of receivers Josh Allen can have. So I'm going to go ahead and say the kid from West Point, Mr. Charlo, the linebacker. I think he provides a presence as a linebacker. He can do some things in emergency situations, and he could play special teams as well. And he did nothing but pop off the screen every time I seen him play. So I will have to go with Charlo.
Heck
What
yeah,
about
you
you?
stole mine. You stole mine. That's fine. I'll get over it. Just so we don't repeat, I'm going to go Frank Gore Jr., man. It's a
Mm,
shame that he
mm.
plays running back because it's the deepest position on the Bills roster is running back. So the fact that he couldn't crack the room, I'm not surprised. But every time I see him out there, whether he's against twos, threes, fours, guys who aren't in the league anymore, he produces, man. And I really hope he gets the chance to go somewhere and play meaningful snaps this year.
Absolutely. I like that. I like Frank Gore Jr. a lot. And it's unfortunate the Bills do have as much talent and as much depth they have in the running back room now with James Cook being signed to his 4-year contract extension. So we'll see. Selfishly, I would want Frank Gore back on the practice squad, but does he deserve to be on an NFL roster based on his skill set? Absolutely. He took advantage of all his opportunities.
That's fair. I'd love him back on the practice squad too, but I'm all about succeeding, Akeem. It don't matter if I mean it does matter if you're succeeding with the Bills or not, but if you can't crack the roster, I want to see you succeed elsewhere. Look at a guy like me, man. I couldn't get where I wanted to go in Buffalo, and now I'm out here. I'm out here on the West Coast doing my thing. So I'm all for the growth.
That the and a man, and that's an excellent example using yourself there. I'm gonna go ahead and flip it back to the Buffalo Bills. Even Tyrell Shavers, undrafted free agent, We've been on the practice squad the last couple of seasons for the Buffalo Bills. Now, third time around, he finally makes the NFL roster. So hopefully, even if it's not the Buffalo Bills, we could see Frank Gore Jr. on an NFL roster and contributing to his role. So we'll definitely see. I want to move on, right? 53-man roster is now official for the Buffalo Bills. Let's start with the quarterback position. The Bills keep 2 quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Mitchell Trubisky. Any surprise there?
Yeah, I want to talk about the guy who wears 17, Josh Allen. I didn't see him much in the preseason. I'm surprised he made the 53, man. Like, how can you say that he's good enough to be? Oh man, I can't even get through that joke. No surprises. We do have a comment there from Marianne talking about Shane Buechele being QB2. I think there is an argument for that. But I do think Buechele is probably going to be back on the practice squad. I really think the Bills wanted to give Mike White the chance to win the backup job, and he didn't have the preseason that he needed to beat out Mitch Trubisky. So I'm not surprised that Trubisky's the one that stays. Obviously, MVP QB1 next.
Right. And, I believe, what you believe as well. And I think what most of us believe, I believe before the Chicago Bears game, the Mitch Trubisky, Mike White QB2 competition, I believe it was something there. But ever since that performance, Mitchell Trubisky has took over the reins and once again is the QB2 for the Buffalo Bills. And I believe as much as I like Shane Buechele, I would love to have him back as a practice squad guy. Right now, he looked good in the preseason, but the preseason, again, even though that's you got to perform where you can perform, right? But the preseason, it just consists of a lot of 2s and 3s and 4s and guys that's not making the team. So I value Mitchell Trubisky's experience, skill set alone as the quarterback 2 for the Buffalo Bills this season.
I think we're in the same boat that we've been with Josh Allen that we've seen for the last 5 years. God forbid an injury happens, we're screwed. Like, Trubisky is not a top backup in the league, right? I think we all know that. But he's the best of what we could work with, and that's what you get. That's what you get when that's what you spend your money on.
Absolutely. And before we move on to the running back position, let me ask you a Josh Allen question right quick. Obviously, we didn't see him in the preseason. He is the reigning NFL MVP for our Buffalo Bills in the National Football League. Yes, sir. That's it right there. That's it right there. Right. Is there anything this season you want to see, or you would like to see, or you think Josh can improve on as he continues his career with the Buffalo Bills? And this is what, year 7, year 8?
I think we might be either year 8 or year 9 here. 2018, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. 8.
Year 8.
All right. Yeah, there's a lot of things that Josh can do better. And I think he's the first person to realize that. You ever watch him talk post-game, post-practice, he's always talking about what he can improve on. What do I think he can improve on? It's simple, Rich. Get the Bills to the number 1 seed. Win those tough games that matter. Us and Kansas City played the same amount of games, right? We both play 17 games, apart from the DeMar Hamlin year. We both play the same amount of games. The fact that we still have not been able to get the number 1 seed is ridiculous. Obviously, it's that Peyton Manning, Tom Brady conversation, right? Where Brady, kind of took all the success. Manning was second. We can't let that happen anymore. We need to win the games that we should win and get that number 1 seed for the final year at Highmark Stadium.
I like it. If I'm thinking of anything Josh Allen would have to improve on, I don't necessarily see it as an improvement per se. I just want to see the consistency in the margin mistakes, right? The last few seasons before last season, Josh Allen was known as a guy to turn over the football, whether that's via interception or last fumbles. Well, last season, Josh Allen had 6 interceptions, throwing interceptions at about a 1.2% clip, lowest in the NFL. Josh Allen only had 5 fumbles last season, so he took care of the football. So that's what I want to see Josh Allen compound on this season. Continue to take care of the football and be one of the more dangerous quarterbacks in the NFL because you do not turn the ball over. Don't revert back to that turnover, Josh Allen. Don't revert back to that sugar high, Josh Allen. That phrase, I believe that phrase was eliminated last year. Let's keep it buried this season. So I just want to see Josh Allen continuing to limit his mistakes.
I know we're going to move on here to the next position soon.
Yes.
But I want to bring up something on Josh that I still see to this day. And we've seen it a lot last year before the season. Media outlets, it seems, always think that us putting the burden on Josh Allen, him having to put the cape on, are moments that he shouldn't have to bear, right? They think we should be relying on the running game or maybe the receivers. But personally, man, I got to say, I think Josh Allen is better when you put that on his shoulders. He carries it and he performs every single time. So the only other thing that he can do better is teach the guys on defense that they need to not allow as many points in the postseason.
I like it a lot, man. I like it a lot. And again, this is, we want to see our guy not only win NFL MVP, but we want to see our team hoist a Lombardi trophy. So anything that can possibly be done to do so, we're going to think of it. So Dan, let's move on. The running back position, the Buffalo Bills kept 4 running backs. I don't think there's no big surprises there either. James Cook, Ray Davis, Ty Johnson, Reggie Gilliam. I know you talked about Frank Gore Jr. a little bit, and unfortunately, it wasn't no place for him on this roster. Well, what you think about the 4 Buffalo Bills that they do have on the 53-man roster?
To harp back on the quarterback conversation, it's exactly what we thought it would be. As much as I love Frank Gore, I don't think he's better than Ty Johnson. I don't think he's better than Ray Davis. I don't think he's better than James Cook. He's obviously not better than James Cook. But this is the room I expected. The fact that James Cook got his money, good for him. I'm glad it wasn't a hefty overpay by the Bills. Obviously, 4 years, like you mentioned at the top of the show. This is exactly what I expected. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, me neither. I believe James Cook, that 4-year contract. First of all, what's your thoughts on the contract? Is that right around what he deserves? You think it was a little too low, a little too high? What's your thoughts on the contract, James Cook, right quick?
It's tough, man, because I think running backs are treated so unfairly in today's NFL. When I first saw the number come out, I thought it was a little high when I first saw it. When I got into the numbers more and realized, hey, bonuses and incentives and things like that, I think it's right where James Cook should be, right in the top, 5 to 8 category. I don't think every fan in the National Football League considers James Cook a top 5 running back. His numbers may say that, but the consistency goes back to what you mentioned with Josh Allen. I think we need to see high level continue from James Cook. I'm okay with the contract at the end of the day.
I am as well. I believe you got a guy that, including this year, he has about 4 more years left on the deal, 4 or 5 more years left on the deal.
And especially, sorry, Rich, especially when you don't have that number 1 option at receiver. You're not paying a top tier receiver money. James Cook is the number 2 option on this offense behind Josh Allen. Even in the receiving game, I would consider him the number 2 option. So you have to lock him up.
Yeah, and I like it. And it's not like he's a workhorse kind of player. He hasn't been utilized in terms of high mileage, in terms of being in football games for his career. You could date back to his Georgia Bulldog days. He was utilized seldom in that offensive backfield. So he has low tread on them tires to maximize, in my opinion, this entire contract. We'll see what happens there. I just believe overall, Frank Gore, he's in my background. He has a good NFL skill set. The only player in the NFL preseason to have 100 receiving yards and 100 rushing yards. But at the same time, you have a guy like James Cook who can do a little bit of everything. You have your guy like Ray Davis, who's that power back, and your Ty Johnson, who I think is a handyman special as well, and is an excellent 3rd down back. So it was just no room for the likes of Frank Gore when the running back room is healthy. Anything else you want to say before you move on to the next position?
I just love the running back room, man. I think if you're going to combine all 3, that's a top 5 position group in the NFL right now. And they complement each other so well. I'm excited to see what they can do this year.
Absolutely. Moving on. 6 wide receivers made the NFL 53-man roster for the Buffalo Bills: Keon Coleman, Joshua Palmer, Khalil Shakir, Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, and Tyrell Shavers. Was you surprised?
I
Any
gotta tell you,
surprises
man.
here?
I got to tell you, that's the first time because I wanted to check the rosters earlier with the time difference. I'm in Oregon now, so the time difference is a little rough. I didn't get to see it, so that's the first time I heard the receiver group.
Yep.
And I'm surprised Elijah Moore made the team.
Really?
I am very surprised that Elijah Moore made the team.
Really?
Considering that he played deep into the last preseason game with guys who have been cut. I also didn't see anything from him throughout the entire preseason. I also think that if money was not guaranteed, we would not see Curtis Samuel maybe on this team. I know he had some injury issues during last season. He's had some injury issues to start this year. The best ability is what? Availability, especially in a receiver room where you're lacking weapons. So 6 receivers, the number sounds right. I'm glad Shavers made the team. And we need Shakir healthy because otherwise we're in trouble.
Really? So I got this man in my background on my screen back here, Keon Coleman. What is your expectations for Keon Coleman going into year 2? What does year 2 expectations look like for Keon Coleman for it to be a successful season for him and the Buffalo Bills offense?
I was so high on Keon last year, and I don't want to say that he didn't impress, but he didn't overly impress for sure. I think that the number one thing that everybody kind of calls him out on is his like route running ability and things like that. I think that when you get into the numbers, I don't care what his numbers look like at the end of the season. I want him to be a consistent option. I want him to win those one-on-one battles, which is what he was drafted to do, and show up in those big primetime moments. That catch that he made over Reek Woolen from the Seahawks, that's the first play that comes to mind whenever I think of Keon Coleman. I need more of that this year.
Yes, I agree. We need that. We need Keon Coleman to be that kind of bully ball possession wide receiver, 50-50 catch wide receiver where Josh Allen knows he's not open at the present time, but he's going to throw that ball anyway, trusting Keon Coleman's ability to come down and make that catch and make that play.
Let me ask you about Josh Palmer, because
go ahead.
Is he going to be the other outside option? Is it going to be Keon, Shakir in the slot, and then Palmer on the outside? And if so, what is your confidence in his ability to obviously he's new to the team, right? We've seen him in training camp and some of the preseason games. What is your belief in Josh Palmer?
So when the Buffalo Bills initially signed him, they signed him to a 3-year, $36 million deal, I believe. If I'm not mistaken, right. That's about $12 million per. So when I hear those numbers, I'm thinking they're signing Joshua Palmer to be that number 2 wide receiver. So I think he's going to be that other outside receiver alongside Keon Coleman and all these receivers, in my opinion, work different areas of the field and have different dynamics to their game. Keon Coleman on the outside is going to be that 50-50 catch guy. He's going to be that bully ball receiver. Joshua Palmer on the outside, he's supposed to be that separator, not by speed, but by route running ability. He's supposed to be your route running technician. So he's supposed to be able to separate and get open. So that's going to be my expectation for Joshua Palmer. Give Josh Allen more of a security blanket as a wide receiver 2 for the Buffalo Bills. So we're going to see if that happens, because I wondered, everybody is so high on a guy like Justin Herbert, right? How come Joshua Palmer couldn't take that next leap in progression if Justin Herbert, the quarterback, possesses so many skills? Is it talent there? Is it scheme and coaching? I was always intrigued to know, but now that he's on the Buffalo Bills and he has a quarterback like Josh Allen, I think now we're going to see what type of receiver Joshua Palmer really is.
I like that. And I think you go back to the fact that Josh Allen gives every wide receiver that he plays with a career year. What is a career year going to look like for Josh Palmer is the question. Let's hope it's 12 touchdowns, 1,200 yards, something like that.
Yeah, we're definitely going to see. Right quick, just to touch on the wide receivers a little before we move on to the tight ends. You spoke about Elijah Moore, and you don't know what he's basically why he's on the team. I think some would even say KJ Hamler might even outplayed Elijah Moore in the preseason. I seen him pop off the screen a little bit more, but I truly believe the Buffalo Bills signed Eli Moore to see what he looks like with Josh Allen. I think they like his skill set as an individual player. He's a stretch receiver. He could get down the field. He's small in stature, but he could still play on the outside and he could win out there because of his quickness and explosiveness. And I think they want to combine that with the play of Josh Allen, and hopefully he provides a added dimension in the Buffalo Bills game. And that's a stretch the field type receiver, because I don't think Curtis Samuel is that stretch the field type receiver, even though he has speed. He's more of a yards after the catch player. And I believe them two dimensions, dynamics on the team, the Buffalo Bills hope that they could be multi-dimensional on offense and have success.
Was he your biggest surprise out of the 53 that made the team?
Oh, that's an excellent question. Elijah Moore. No, I honestly had him a lock pretty early on. I don't think he's
really?
I don't think he's my biggest surprise at all.
Even after all the preseason games, and you've seen how little he was used, you've seen the other receivers maybe outperforming him, like you mentioned. That's interesting to me. He was like bottom 3 on my list. Like I would consider him 56 if we were allowed to have those kinds of players. So that's interesting.
Nice.
But hey, if y'all aren't new to the channel, me and Akeem are not what's the word? We're not new to disagreeing. With each
other. Correct, man.
I love it.
Once again, Akeem is debuting my new show, Rich Talk with Rich. My brother Dan Kelly's my very first guest, and he's going to be on the show often. So definitely get used to his face. I want to move on. Right, tight ends, Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Jackson Hawes. Any surprise there?
Okay. Again, this is the first time I'm hearing it, so I think people should start paying attention to my facial reactions, because there are some things going on. I don't want to say any surprises. The tight end room, they really filled that up this year. I think they were really looking to see who was going to break out as the number 3. I think Hawes eventually won the job for 2 reasons. 1, he's a recent draft pick. And 2, that catch that he made against Tampa Bay in the flats, he breaks a tackle, gets a first down. I think if you can prove that not only do you have sure hands, but you can break tackles, that's really valuable to the Joe Brady offense. And as a number 3, I'm good with Hawes. We need to see Dalton Kincaid bounce back. We need that. And is it more the fact that we need to see him bounce back, or is it more the fact that we need the coaches to scheme him open more? I don't know. Give me your thoughts on that.
And I'm glad you brought Dalton Kincaid up, because he was exactly who I was going to get into as an individual while we discussed this tight end position group. Dalton Kincaid, first of all, he has to stay healthy. I think health is most important with Dalton Kincaid. His rookie season, he had 73 receptions, 673 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had 11 starts his rookie season. Last year, only 44 receptions and 448 yards with 2 touchdowns. He had 9 starts. And even while he's playing, he's battling some sort of injury. So I think first and foremost, let's see if we can get a healthy for a duration of the season Dalton Kincaid, and see what he can do there. And if we can get a healthy Dalton Kincaid, I think he can put up numbers closer to his rookie season with 73 receptions and 670 yards. That's the expectation this year, in my opinion, for Dalton Kincaid. He has to exceed expectations by a time and a half compared to what he did last season. At the end of the day, he's a first-round pick. At the end of the day, the Buffalo Bills traded up to get Dalton Kincaid, and now this is the season where we have to see some return on that investment. Otherwise, his 5th-year option will not be picked up next year.
That's fair, and they're already spending a lot at the tight end position with Dawson Knox, who we all love Knox. I'm not gonna come on here and bag on Dawson Knox. I will say that contract is an overpay at this point. What he's being paid and what he's producing on the field does not match up. So in a perfect world, hey, Kincaid takes the next step. and maybe, the Bills look to add another tight end early in the draft next year or a free agent. I don't know that Hawes will be ready to step into that backup role, but I think, we talk a lot about this young core, right, that the Bills just signed this offseason. Dawson Knox is on the outside of that young core. So I think he might be that next piece to be moving on.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐭 makes the team. I think he adds another dimension again. Once again for the Buffalo Bills, he's more of that. Can he catch the ball as a tight end? Obviously, he has decent hands, being that he's a tight end. But he's also an excellent blocker as well. He's probably the best blocker out the three, and we all know that Joe Brady likes to mix it up in the run game.
Does that make Hawes more apt to be in the active lineup each week? Or do you think, hey, maybe he's kind of on the inactive list to start the year?
I think he has a great chance to be on the active roster come week one. I think he can, he can block. He can be that extra lineman on the offensive line. I think he could do a multitude of things for to help that Buffalo Bills offense in terms of doing the dirty work. And the Buffalo Bills need those type of players willing to do the dirty work. And I think Jackson Hawes enjoys it.
I think that's not talked about enough, man. When these players make the 53-man roster, like, obviously, great, you and me are never going to do it. But then when you're inactive for 14 out of 17 weeks, like, how that must feel. I've seen it myself. I've seen those players come through. It's just a weird thing to kind of be going through my head right now. Going back to the tight ends for a quick second.
Right.
I think that when Josh Allen came in and we had Knox, he had a really good year. Since then, we haven't seen a tight end really produce with Josh in the Bills offense. And while you were going on about Kincaid, I was thinking, do you think that maybe the tight end position is taking a back seat to Josh Allen's reads because he's a scrambler? So the middle of the field, maybe he's not too focused on the tight end. He's focused on his outside guys and his legs. Because otherwise, why are our tight ends not, higher up in terms of yards, in terms of touchdowns, in terms of average yards per catch?
I think it's definitely possible. I believe the thought process done changed once the Buffalo Bills staff understood what type of offensive coordinator they have. Right. So to make a little bit more sense of it, the beginning of last season, I believe they wanted to run more of that 11 personnel, right? Where they wanted to include Dawson Knox and Dawson Kincaid on the field at the same time. And I think that changed a little bit. I think it's more of I don't want to say traditional, but because of the other skill position players we have on the roster this year, I believe it's more of a, tight end 1, tight end 2 kind of thing as opposed to both of them being starters. I believe Kincaid is the tight end 1, but he has to play like it. And obviously Dawson Knox, that contract is a bit much. And I think the Buffalo Bills have some type of, when they do business with certain players and certain people, I think feelings and loyalty come involved. And I think the connection with Josh Allen is involved as well. So I think those play a part of Dawson Kincaid's contract and why he's on the team and so forth and so on.
Great points, man. I miss talking football with you. So glad to be here. If you guys have missed your Dan Kelly here in Built to Buffalo, don't worry. He has not been gone from the limelight. The Kelly Cast is my channel here on YouTube. Be sure to check it out. Hey, Rich, let's move on to the next position.
Next position, offensive line. I'm gonna put these guys in the big blender, combine the guards and the tackles. The Bills.
I was gonna say let's not go all 32 at once.
Right. The Buffalo Bills keep 9 offensive linemen: Deion Dawkins, Spencer Brown, Connor McGovern, David Edwards, Osiris Torrance, Cedric Van Pran Granger, Alec Anderson, Ryan Vandermark, and the rookie Chase Lunt. Tylen Grable, the offensive tackle, second-year pro out of UCF. He's starting the season on IR, so he'll miss the first 4 games.
Is Travis Clayton still a part of the practice squad with the
international
European?
I believe so.
Okay. I have no words for the offensive lineman. I think this is exactly what I was kind of expecting. There's no name that I saw jump out to me in tape during this preseason. So whoever they think was good enough to make the team, I'm fine with. It's not that I don't want to talk about offensive linemen, but I didn't see anything from them that's worth noting.
Right. once again, once again, the Buffalo Bills come with status quo on the offensive line, coming with an offensive line that had plenty of success last season. Josh Allen was only sacked 14 times, lowest in the National Football League. If it's not
Same
broke,
5 starters, right?
yep, for the last couple of seasons, same five,
Heck
majority
yeah.
of the 5 starters. So that
That's amazing.
continuity is vital, is a vital in the NFL and a part of the Buffalo Bills team and offense. So let's move on. Let's not talk too much about offensive line. We know who we got. Let's move on.
I'm sorry to all the audience members who wanted to hear our expert
Offensive
analysis on Chase Lunt, but I really don't have any.
That's awesome. Yeah, let's move on to the defensive line. Let's break this a little bit up. Let's go edge first.
Okay.
Buffalo Bills keep 5 edge players: Gregory Rousseau, Joey Bosa, AJ Epinesa, Javon Solomon, and Landon Jackson. Any initial thoughts on the defensive ends before I get into questions I may want to ask you?
Okay. Epinesa is another guy to me that's just a little overpaid. I like him as a player. I like him on this team, but I think, I've been putting in some time on Madden, man, and he's one of the higher paid Bills that I don't know that deserves to be that high. I will say, and I'm not going to take too much stock into preseason, but Landon Jackson did not really stick out to me on tape. I did see him out there wearing 55. Obviously, you see 55, the first thing you think is Jerry Hughes, but you see a vanilla large defensive lineman. That ain't no Jerry Hughes out there. So I didn't see what I wanted to see from him. I'm not going to say, hey, he's not going to turn out to be anything, because obviously, hopefully he will. We know that the Bills operate with a very rotational. Every single one of these guys is going to play pretty much. So I don't think there's any surprises in there. I still think it's our weakest position group on the team. Maybe next to corner. It's very close to me, the corners and the D line.
Really? In the edge? Really? So, and
yeah, man. I mean,
I'm saying really, but I kind of understand. I kind of understand, because I was just about to say,
league, there are teams that have Denver, right, with their edge rushers. You look at a lot of teams who just have a better overall room. I think the Bills have a room where we know what each player can give. The only option there that gives you a little bit of, hey, maybe he can turn out to be something, is Landon Jackson. You know what you're getting with Epinesa, right? Obviously, I love Rousseau, but both Rousseau and Oliver need to get better at being consistent. I still don't love that they're never consistent. It pisses me off, quite frankly, because you look at the numbers that they get paid. And Rousseau, I think he just finished his best season ever, close to 10 sacks. And you need that kind of production from your guys, especially when we talk about what do the Bills need to do? They need to win playoff games. How do you win playoff games? You sack the quarterback. Who hasn't sacked the quarterback in the playoffs? The Buffalo Bills. So I think it leaves a lot to be desired.
Now, and I'm glad you said that, because I was getting ready to say, out of Javon Solomon and Landon Jackson, one of them has to give us some type of production, right? Because,
I mean, Solomon is a special teamer, right? Isn't that?
He's a special teamer, but he's a defensive end too. He's a defensive end as well. And he's supposed to be a specialist. This is his second year. He led the FBS coming out of the NFL draft in sacks. So I think the Buffalo Bills look at him as a special teamer, yes, but a guy that can also hopefully provide some pass rush presence.
But that's the thing that you remember going back to Hard Knocks. McDermott says, hey, 3 guys are going to make this team for special teams play. And I think one of those guys is Javon Solomon. I think it's got to be, because otherwise they may look elsewhere in that room. But I like the fact that most of the time the Bills keep their young guys and their rookies, things like that. Edifon Ulufosio, obviously no longer with the team. That was one of my biggest surprises, because, again, he was just a draft pick last year for the team. So, again, I just want to see consistency from that D-line. Let's get after the quarterback and make it easy.
What about this guy, Joey Bosa? He stayed relatively healthy through the preseason. Do you have any expectations for him? Thoughts on Joey Bosa? I like what I saw from the preseason from him thus far. He looked disruptive. He looked like a force. He looked like he's healthy. Can the Buffalo Bills rotation keep him healthy throughout the course of an entire NFL season? And what's your overall thoughts?
You crack me up. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm laughing like I can't control it, Akeem. Joey Bosa got injured the first day of OTAs. The first day.
First day.
And you want to tell me that he's been relatively healthy. Okay, he's been healthy since then.
Yes, he has. You don't believe
I
it?
do
You
not.
don't
I
believe
do not believe in the health of Joey Bosa long term in the slightest. I think
really?
he's still. I think he's still a really good pass rusher. I think he, gives you those opportunities. But the way that the Bills can succeed and go far in the playoffs, make a Super Bowl run, is he needs to stay healthy. He needs to stay rushing the quarterback. We need him come January when Mahomes or Burrow is on the other side. And yeah, his health. If you're asking me like 50-50, I'm like 20-80. I'm not in on Joey Bosa's health. And part of the reason that you can't be in on it is because of the age, right? I believe he's 31. He's not getting any younger. He's not going to be around very much longer. But the Bills have brought in older pass rushers at the end of their career. Lorenzo Alexander comes to mind as one, and they kind of performed. I think it's a different situation. Would love to see Joey Bosa just do a good job at anchoring whatever side he's going to be on. I don't know which him or Rousseau is playing on which side.
So you see the 5 edge rushers on the Buffalo Bills 53-man roster. Michael Hoyt is suspended. He's listed as a defensive end for the Buffalo Bills. He's serving a 6-game suspension. When he's slated to come back, who is the odd man out here? Or do you think it's one of these defensive ends, or do you think they're going to find another position player somewhere else?
That's tough.
That's tough.
It's very tough. Was it a 5-game or a 6-game suspension?
6-game suspension for Michael Hoyt
and Ogunjobi.
So that's 2 players that you're gonna, if you want them on the 53, that's 2 players that you're gonna have to take off the 53. And we're gonna get into the defensive tackles in a second.
I'm gonna cop out of your question here. I'm gonna take an easy answer, and I'm gonna say that within the first 6 weeks of the season, the Bills are going to be dealing with some injuries, and they're not going to have to take anybody out. They can kind of just insert them in. And the reason I'm going with that is because
cop out.
Okay, this is our first show. You want to make it? You want to make this a regular?
No, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. But yeah,
don't act like you haven't copped out of my question, bro.
Of course.
I think it's tough because they play different positions. I think if Hoyt and Ogunjobi were on the same place on the D line, it might be a little different. And Molly, shout out, says Jackson's 94. I could have swore he was wearing 55 in the preseason. I do see he's 94 now. He's
94. Yeah, he's 94.
But was he wearing 55 in the preseason?
I'm not 100%. He might have
was that somebody else wearing 55?
He might have always been 94.
Because we had somebody wearing 55 out there. And I don't know who it was.
I think it's Michael Hoyt don't wear 55 now?
I don't think so. Let's see. Michael. Is it Hoyt? Yes, you're right. Hoyt. Okay. Well, anyway, Hoyt, going back to what I said about Landon Jackson. Hoyt, he was impressive in later quarters in preseason games, I noticed. I've seen a lot of hype about him. A lot of people are excited about Hoyt. I don't know. I'm not on that train. I'm not like sold on him. Okay, he did good against third stringers. So did Shedeur Sanders. Okay, so did a lot of players who didn't even make teams. They played well against those backups and later. Thank you, Adam, for confirming there with Hoyt. I think are both these guys, Ogunjobi and Hoyt, are they both going to be activated by the Bills, or do you think maybe they're going to lean one side? Because that's tough, man. If there's no injuries, who do you take out for those 2 guys?
All right, so right quick, we'll go back there. Let's get into the defensive tackles, and maybe once we talk about the defensive tackles, we could come with more of a conclusion with the guys coming off suspension. So the DTs, the Buffalo Bills are keeping 5: Ed Oliver, Daquan Jones, T.J. Sanders, Deion Walker, and Dwayne Carter. Dwayne Carter, in my opinion, is one of those guys that may be an odd man out in terms of when one of these guys come back, if and when one or both of these guys and 𝐻𝐻𝐽 and Hoyt come back, who are they gonna replace? We don't know if Dwayne Carter's a 1-tech. We don't know if Dwayne Carter's a 3-tech. We're not sure if the Buffalo Bills have an exact plan for Dwayne Carter. And because of that, in my opinion, the coaching staff didn't do him any justice and kind of put him behind the 8 ball. And it doesn't help when you see other players get drafted at your position that you just was drafted to play. So unless, it might be an audition between defensive linemen to see who wins out. But I think Dwayne Carter is going to be one of those guys, odd man out for the Buffalo Bills.
When Dwayne Carter was drafted, did you see a need for his position? Because I remember when he was drafted, there was questions about, hey, does he fit the Bills? Do you remember those conversations?
Yeah, I do. And I remember, and I think a lot of that was because of Ed Oliver. We knew Ed Oliver was a long-term investment for the Buffalo Bills. So because of that, where do we see Dwayne Carter? And I saw him initially at that time as a backup 3-tech to Ed Oliver that can be part of the defensive line rotation. He would be the next defensive tackle coming in certain down and distance situations. That's how I viewed Dwayne Carter. But now with the influx of defensive linemen and not knowing exactly where to place him and him fluctuating his weight to take on his role or responsibilities, I'm not sure if there's a place currently for a Dwayne Carter if and when the Buffalo Bills get completely healthy on that side of the ball. It's tough.
Is 𝐻𝐻𝐽 even that good that you'd rather have him play than a young player? I don't know. The conversations in the defensive line room are above my pay grade, and I'm not paid anything.
Do you have any expectations for the rookies, TJ Sanders, Deon Walker? Did you like what you see from any one of those guys there, or?
Yeah, Walker obviously showed out against Tampa Bay. I think we all saw that in the run game, which you love to see because the Bills have famously struggled with stopping the run game, especially in close-knit contests. The other DT there, TJ Sanders. I was impressed by him. I heard a lot about him in training camp. I didn't hear a lot about him when it came to the games, but I do have high hopes. I mean, he was the 2nd-round pick. Let's hope, he gets to play. But I think the same conversation we had with the defensive ends goes for the defensive tackles in the sense that when one of these guys gets tired, it's a plug-and-play system. And you wonder sometimes, if it's the way to go, because if Ed Oliver's tired and it's not the last drive, you'll see him on the sidelines. I've seen it myself in games that I used to go to at Highmark. It's like, is he really on the sideline right now for this crucial 3rd down? But the Bills, for whatever reason, and I don't know if it's right or if it's wrong, but they value the fresh guy more than the talented guy. So I think they're all going to play, minus maybe Dwayne Carter, Larry Ogunjobi, whatever we want to go there. But in terms of who's going to move whenever those guys get reactivated, I don't know. And the Bills have dealt with guys getting suspended before. Not Tyrell Dodson, but there was another linebacker we used to have, Andre Smith. He was suspended for PEDs a couple years ago. And then the Bills just said, hey, we're moving on. So you wonder, I don't know exactly. I remember there was some drama with Hoyt and 𝐻𝐻𝐽 in terms of their suspensions. But once we get to week 6, I think we'll have some more answers.
Absolutely. Moving on with the linebackers, the Buffalo Bills keep 5 linebackers: Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, Dorian Williams, Joe Andreessen, and Shaq Thompson. Any surprises there? Shaq Thompson made the team. That's good. That's good to see.
I'm just gonna be. I'm the negative Nelly today, man.
You're the negative Kelly today, huh? Okay.
Don't do that to me.
What you got?
I don't know, man. Shaq Thompson, sell me on him. He's 47 years old. Sell me on him.
I honestly, I like the depth and the experience he brings. He obviously has the familiarity being a Carolina Panther with Sean McDermott and Brandon Beane. The last couple of seasons, we didn't hear too much from him because he was injured. He was injured last season. I believe he had significant injury, and
Oh, great!
also
So we're signing more injured guys like
he,
Joey Bosa.
but he proved this season during camp that he can stay healthy. I like the addition to Shep Thompson. Me personally, I just like the depth and the experience he brings. We've always had an injury plagued linebacker room throughout the course of the season, and I think Shaq Thompson, I would rather have him over the likes of AJ Klein or even the likes of Bill Inspector, man in that front. So I'm glad he's on the team, but for depth purposes only.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm okay with that.
I like Charlo though. Charlo was he was standing out, man.
I like Charlo too, man, and I think that if he's not brought back on the practice squad, they're doing something wrong. Unless he signs with another team, of course. I really wanted him to make the 53 because he really did a lot on special teams as well.
Mm-hmm.
I seen his number kind of shining out there. When it comes to the linebacking core, the only thing you want to see is a full season of Matt Milano and Terrell Bernard. That's all you want to see if you're a Bills fan. And I don't know that we ever will. I think both those guys are injury prone. We can say that confidently at this point. They've both gone through large, massive injuries within the past 2 seasons. Hopefully they just, fingers crossed, they stay healthy.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Rich Talk with Rich. I am your host, Akeem Richens. I got my brother Dan Kelly joining me on my very first episode. On my very first episode of Rich Talk. We're going to move on. Dan, I got a question for you. Before we talk about our next position group, let's talk about a name within the group.
Okay.
There's been some rumors
Dan
swirling
Kelly.
around.
Oh, no, he's not in that room. Sorry.
There has been some rumors swirling around that Levi Wallace was possibly in Buffalo or had some discussions with Buffalo. There's something going on with Buffalo and Levi Wallace. Now, Maxwell Harrison's on the IR. Trey White, good news. He's not on IR, but overall, how do you feel about the Buffalo Bills cornerback room, and would you be open? Would you like to see a Buffalo Bills Levi Wallace reunion?
This question is difficult in more ways than one.
Why?
Because I don't think anybody wants to see a Levi Wallace Bills reunion. I don't think if you're sitting there the other night wondering who's going to play cornerback at the Bills, that Levi Wallace pops into your mind, right? I don't think that's how it goes. But I will say the reason that it's come down to this is that the Bills did not do enough at the cornerback position throughout free agency and throughout the draft. Yes, they spent a first-round pick on Hairston. I also think they should have went out and got more of the position in free agency. They should have done that. There was guys available. Rasul Douglas just signed with the Dolphins. Are you kidding me? Douglas over Wallace. I think we're all in that camp. But at this point, with the injuries to Hairston and injury to Trey, who we're not sure, right, if he's going to play week one against the Ravens.
Right.
If Levi Wallace wants to come back, he is the best option that we should not have to even consider.
I like how you put that. Let me run off the names. Christian Benford, Trey White, Teron Johnson, Jamarcus Ingram, Cam Lewis, Dorian Strong. Dan, if Trey White cannot go, a comment section as well. Let me get your thoughts. If Trey White cannot go September 7th, Sunday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens, who is the starting cornerback that game opposite Christian Benford?
It's got to be Jamarcus Ingram, because I see Cam Lewis more as a nickel. He's the backup to Taron Johnson. And I've also seen him play back at safety when there's injuries. So my first thought is Jamarcus Ingram. Am I happy with that? No. You got to remember, the Ravens are not the same team that we saw a year ago. DeAndre Hopkins is on that team. So now you're dealing with DeAndre Hopkins and Zay Flowers. You put Tre'Davious White on Zay Flowers, and I'm sorry, I love Trey. He's getting cooked. He is not fast enough to keep up with a young Zay Flowers. Him versus DeAndre Hopkins is interesting because it's the battle of the washed kind of players. But I am not confident. If Tre'Davious White can't go, I am scared because obviously you have Benford, but that number 2, they would really need to shade the safety over. And then you're talking about safety where there's a bigger issue. And I think for a long part of Bean and McDermott's tenure here, we've done a pretty good job in the cornerback room and the safety room. The secondary was good. We had Mike Hyde. We had Jordan Poyer. Everything was kind of good for a while. And within the past recent years, ever since Tre'Davious White was drafted, the Bills have not hit on a cornerback or safety pick. Daquan Hardy just got released. He was, a 6th-round pick last year? I'm not saying he should have turned out to be anything great, but he can't even crack the team. And you see Dane Jackson, we knew he was getting cut when we saw him in the 4th quarter against Tampa Bay. I mean, he just can't hang anymore. But they shouldn't be in this position in the first place. They should have planned better to not put themselves in the same situation that they've kind of been in for the past 3 years. Hey, who's playing opposite Benford? Who is there? Because when it was Trey, I believe 3 years ago now, we still weren't confident in his ability. So Trey now older, I'm even more skeptical about how he's going to perform. I love Tre'Davious White. I have his jersey. Fantastic human being, right? I'm worried about the product on the football field. And the cornerback room, it's weak. One of the weakest in the league.
Yeah, and I'm thinking Jamarcus Ingram is the guy that would make that start. I believe he has shown some level of progression from a couple of years ago for the Buffalo Bills till now. Is that progression good enough to be on Sunday Night Football against the Baltimore Ravens? I'm not sure. We may see sooner rather than later, but I'm also interested to see how the Buffalo Bills defensively is going to come out. You know, how is their schematics going to be game 1 against the Baltimore Ravens? They know they like to play big boy physical brand of football. Are they going to come out and throw that nickel defense, throw that extra nickel linebacker, that nickel corner out there knowing they have injuries? Or are they going to come back in a more traditional 4-3 set against a team that if you want to play 4-3, Baltimore Ravens is probably one of the teams that you want to do it against because of their physical brand of football they like to run and play. So I would even entertain if we can play some 4-3, putting Teron Johnson back on the outside and letting your 3 linebackers go. But we'll see what happens there.
Adam makes a really good point here. Benford, yes, Benford they hit on in the 6th round. I'll give you that, Adam. But his first point there about Dorian Strong, we know that the Bills don't play rookies. Right? We know that at the start of the season, it doesn't really matter who you are. You typically don't start. Would you rather see Dorian Strong out there than a Cam Lewis, than a Jamarcus Ingram, based on the potential?
No, not right now. Not right now. I think this is not the team that you want to do it. Even though it's game 1, this is not the team that you want to go ahead and do that with. In my opinion, you want your best 53-man roster or 11 guys out there. Not to say Dorian Strong won't be one of those 11 guys, but right now I think he just lacks the experience against playing with a team against like Baltimore, where you can see those type of mental mistakes. Even we've seen it last year with our rookie 2nd-round pick with Cole Bishop. He made a lot of mental mistakes throughout the course of his rookie season. He played decent come end of the season, but he made a lot of rookie mistakes where you get caught watching instead of playing. So because of those things, I'm not mad Dorian Strong may not play. He may get some rotation. We'll see, but I don't think he should start.
I really wish our first game wasn't against the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah,
I really do. Like the fact that the schedule makers did it, I get it. You know, you want the most eyes on Sunday Night Football in week 1. It's a great prime time matchup. But to have this in the first week, I was just talking to, I talk football with everybody. I was talking to somebody the other day, and I just said, if you put yourself behind the 8 ball in week 1 and you lose to the Ravens, first of all, everybody's going to come out here and say the sky is falling. We all know that. That's the first thing. The second thing, that could be it. 1 seed goes to Kansas City. That's how it's been, is 1 or 2 of these losses, they stack up. And when you have a tough team like this early, man, I want to see week 1. I want to see Josh Allen out there, but against the Ravens, I'm nervous. I'm nervous against Baltimore.
I definitely wasn't a fan either. But at the end of the day, you gotta play your schedule, man. And
that's true.
And I, of course, would I want to be the number 1 seed? Would I want to have home field advantage and make the playoffs and do all those great things for the course of the postseason? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, I just want to get in. I just want my team to be healthy, and I will play. I'm comfortable personally as a fan for the Buffalo Bills to play anybody anywhere, right? Because we had some advantages in the past against the Cincinnati Bengals where they came to Buffalo in the playoffs and we got our asses waxed. You know, of course, things happen, but the results of the game is the results of the game. So at the end of the day, I just want us to be healthy, clicking at the right time, and then we'll play anybody anywhere.
Counterpoint. We want the Bills to be healthy. You know how they get healthy? Do you know how they get healthy, Average?
How they get healthy?
They get an extra bye week. It's not the home field that I'm desiring. It's that extra bye week to get those bodies healthy. I think our bye week is really early this year, if I'm remembering correctly. So we need that additional time to let people rest and let their bodies get straight. Yes, the home game's huge, but I honestly think that bye week is even larger than the home field advantage.
Before we get into safeties, Adam says, how would you feel about Cam Lewis starting if Trey can't go? Normally plays a slot, but I believe he's bigger than Ingram. I'm not sure if that will happen. And get your thoughts, Dan Kelly. Like I was saying earlier, I wouldn't be opposed to Teron Johnson starting on the outside, probably playing more 4-3 than usual, playing the Baltimore Ravens. You could probably get away with that for that specific week. But, you know, they might keep it simple and let the next guy be available to play that outside to sub for Trey White, which may be Jamarcus Ingram. That may be the easiest route to go. But again, we'll see.
I don't know. I think the Ravens is tough because they're run heavy, but it's not like they can't not pass the football. They have DeAndre Hopkins. They have Isaiah Likely, Mark Andrews. They're a stacked football team all around. There's no getting around it. So I don't know that taking Taron Johnson out of his natural position to play outside is the right move, because I think if you do that, you'll leave yourself susceptible in the slot. And if you leave yourself susceptible in the slot against the Ravens with those 2 tight ends who the Bills already struggled to cover, you're putting yourself in danger. So I don't agree with Taron Johnson moving over, but when you have that many injuries, I could see that being a possible solution. I don't like any of these scenarios. Let's just be straight. Let's put Tre'Davious White out there opposite of Christian Benford, because even if it's Tre'Davious White, I've been clear on this. I'm not confident in Trey's ability out there, especially against the Ravens. Why couldn't this have been the freaking Jets?
We'll see.
Or the Dolphins.
Moving on to the safeties. Four makes the 53-man for the Buffalo Bills: Taylor Rapp, Cole Bishop, Damar Hamlin, and Jordan Hancock. Any concerns, or how high is your level of concern with the safety group, or more specifically with Cole Bishop?
How high can I possibly go, Larry? There, you can see me right there. That's where my concern level is for the safeties. I don't want Damar Hamlin on this football team anymore.
Wow.
I've seen all that I need to see from him. I've seen him make mistakes against players that are less than his talent level in the preseason. And I'm done with the Damar Hamlin experiment. I'm surprised that he's still here. I love Jordan Hancock. I think he showed some signs, but I don't think he's ready to go right now. Bishop worries me. I want to be high on Bishop, just like I want to be high on Keon Coleman. I don't want to be high at all in general, but you know what I mean. Both those players, they have tremendous upside, but I haven't seen it. And Bishop has obviously dealt with injuries. I don't use injuries as an excuse for any player. I think if you can't, I think there's certain players who just aren't durable enough to make it in the NFL. And the first name that comes to mind for me when I think of that is Marquise Goodwin. as a big Marquise Goodwin fan when he was drafted by the Bills, Texas wide receiver, fastest guy on the field. The guy was made of glass. I mean, he stayed in the league for a long time, but he was never very productive. And I think that's just kind of the way things go. The safety position, I'm concerned about it. I'm worried about it. I wanted them to maybe make a trade or go out and sign somebody from a different team, but we know the Bills' MO, keep the guys they have. What do you think? Are you on the same wavelength with me here?
I want to ask you one more question. Straight shot question. Your level of concern is higher for the safety or cornerback position?
Oh, God. I'm not going to cop out. I copped out of your question earlier.
Comment section, what y'all think? If y'all had any concerns, or what's your highest level of concern, higher level of concern? The cornerback room for the Buffalo Bills or the safety room for the Buffalo Bills?
You know, like I said, I'm not going to cop out. I'm going to say the safety. And the reason I'm going to say the safety, sorry, I'm going to say the corner is my higher concern. And the reason that I'm going to go corner is because, so I'm going to go backwards here a second. In my field, one of the jobs I had, I was called the last line of defense before something hit the air, before something hit broadcast. I was the last line of defense. Mm-hmm. I believe the safety is the last line of defense before somebody gets to the end zone. So if your cornerback fails, your safety can make the tackle, make the touchdown saving tackle, make the deflection. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm going to say corner, but I'm worried about both of them in the same level.
Yeah. Cole Bishop, he's kind of like 𝐼𝐸 Kincaid. I don't know if it's a Utah Utes thing, but he has to stay healthy as well. Cole Bishop last season as a rookie, I believe he came behind the 8 ball but with the Buffalo Bills because he was hurt. This season
he was hurt like 12 weeks from almost the beginning of training camp to November, December. He never got to even like practice with the guys. And that's what McDermott says all the time. I watch these press conferences any chance I get, and you can see McDermott's like level of belief in the kid, but he mentions he needs reps. It's the most important thing. Mm-hmm. And when you're not getting them, hey, you can learn a lot off the field, but you need to be able to go and do it. And we just haven't seen that from Bishop yet.
Mm-hmm. And that's exactly right. This season he had another injury, and I think that injury this year, he was getting starting reps. He was the incumbent starting safety along with Taylor Rapp, and then he got hurt. Then he came back and he had that performance against the Chicago Bears, and now everybody is up in arms on whether did the Buffalo Bills get the safety position right. And I think Cole Bishop, he definitely has the talent. He definitely has the athletic profile and the size and the build. We just, like you said, we have to see him do it. What position are you most comfortable in? Are you a deep third safety? Are you an in-the-box safety? We have to find what you do best and maximize it. And I think that's going to be a challenge for the Buffalo Bills coaching staff. And I think that's going to be the individual challenge for Cole Bishop, proving he could stay healthy and he's worth that second-round investment. Right now, I definitely have my concerns with both the safety and corner position. I'm a little more concerned with the cornerback position just because Maxwell Harrison is the Cole Bishop of this year. He's not playing. He's not getting those reps. And as a rookie, he was going to get his lumps in the road as a healthy player. Now he's hurt, right? He's behind the 8 ball. Trey White, he's hurt. Like you said, he wasn't the same player like he was several years ago. And now he has multiple serious injuries, and now he's injured again. How long can he last for the Buffalo Bills? So when you think about that, and without those two guys, if you're talking about a Dorian Strong or a Jamarcus Ingram right now, and you want to compete with the likes of the Kansas City Chiefs, the Baltimore Ravens, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Detroit Lions, Super Bowl contending teams, and you're trotting those type of players out there, it's concerning. It's definitely concerning.
That's fair. We're going on about an hour here
at
Rich Talk with 𝐸𝐻, the first episode. Honored to be a guest here. I want to get to the comments for a second, 𝐸𝐻, but before that, I just want to ask, just me to you, are you glad you invited Dan Kelly back to the show?
Man, hey, Dan, I'll tell you what, we always have a great discussion. Why? Because we're not afraid to disagree with each other, and then we disagree and we come with our good analytical points on why we feel like we feel, and it's okay to disagree and still come up with with good product. And I think that's what me and you excel in doing. We put out a good product despite not agreeing for every topic of discussion. So yes, I enjoy it.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate that. And sometimes we disagree with each other even when we agree with the other person. We've had those instances where,
right.
I think it's really important to play devil's advocate. There's two sides to every story, and there's the truth, there's your view, and then there's somewhere in the middle. And that's where we try to be. Two of these comments. Robbie, I see you in the comments. Shout out to you, man. I recognize your name from the past, so shout out to you. And then Tim. Tim asks pretty much a clickbait question. I don't know if you're looking for clickbait, Tim, or not, but no, I don't think the Bills would have interest in Shiloh Sanders. I think it has nothing to do with him punching Zach Davidson in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. I just think that's not the kind of guy that the Bills go after. And the reason is, and I've seen this a lot with Shedeur, and obviously he made the Browns, good for him. You don't want your backup safety to be the talk of the town before your matchup. You don't want him being the center of attention. It doesn't make any sense. It goes back to like Cam Newton, right? And you say, how the hell does this compare to Cam Newton? Well, I'll tell you, just wait a second. When Cam gets released from Carolina, and I don't know if he goes to New England right away or if he takes a year off or whatever happens there, but I never believed that Cam could be a backup quarterback because of his ego. And it's the same thing with these Sanders boys to me. It's a danger putting them in the locker room. As much as we need help at safety, I'm not interested in a diva in the locker room. And I don't even know if Shiloh is a diva, but based off of his family and other storylines, I don't want anything to do with it.
I mean, as far as Shiloh Sanders, I actually like Shiloh coming out of Colorado. I do believe, of course, the off the field incident he had in high school. I think that was a question I'm pretty sure he had to answer.
What did he do in high school?
I think he had some type of run-in where he beat up the security guard or something like that. I'm not 100%. I don't remember 100%, so don't quote me 100. But it was some type of physical altercation, that went on, and then. He's already an older kid. He's about 25 or 26-year-old rookie as it is. I believe he's a 25-year-old rookie. So that's just an unfortunate situation. And then when he threw the punch in the preseason game, I don't think that helps his chances. I don't think that is something that
cut him right there.
That is not something. That's not something
that
you want to see.
By Tyrell Shavers helped him make the team. That play cut Shiloh Sanders from the Bucs,
and it also hurt his future. It hurt his future
sure.
as well. It hurts his future as well. That because he's already a Sanders, right? Where people may feel like they might be trying to set an example for the Sanders family. Well, he didn't help himself with that situation. But right quick, Tyler Bass, Brad Robbins, Reed Ferguson, and Brandon Cogrington. Round off the Buffalo Bills 53-man roster. I think Brandon Cogrington should make the team, even though he does only play special teams.
Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt. We still have our long snapper, right?
Reed Ferguson. Yep.
He made the team.
Yep. Reed Ferguson made it.
we need good old Reed here. Not surprised. I think the Bills really wanted a Tyler Bass replacement going into last year. Did he shut up the doubters? I don't know that he shut them up, but he definitely quieted them last year. I didn't see many outright terrible kicks from him, but I do think that he is not the future at kicker long-term in Buffalo. The same way like Robbins, man, Zach Davidson boomed a punt. It's like I have no thoughts on Robbins. Codrington, I like Codrington. I wish he was a better defensive back because that'd be nice. But as a returner, he's fine. Let's hit these league scenarios we mentioned just real quick. I don't want to be on here too long.
Right.
Trey Hendrickson gets paid by the Cincinnati Bengals. The problem is that's a 1-year extension. If you're Trey Hendrickson, I mean, I guess it's tough because do you consider the Bengals a good team or not? They didn't make the playoffs last year. Let's consider them a good team. I think they're a good team. We're going to play in that era.
Mhm.
You're Trey Hendrickson. The end of the year happens. You make the playoffs. Let's say you're eliminated divisional round to Baltimore. We're going to live in this scenario here. If you're Trey Hendrickson, you just got eliminated in the divisional round. They gave you, what, 31, whatever it is that they signed him to. Do you re-sign with Cincinnati, or do you say, they didn't want to play ball with me, I'm out?
I'm going to I'm not going to burn any bridges, but I'm definitely going to test the waters in free agency.
Okay.
I'm at a point now where I've had back-to-back 17 and a half sack seasons.
Which is
Um,
crazy.
this is my 5th year since I've came to the Cincinnati Bengals. I've been a Pro Bowl player or All Pro player since I've been here. And I see all these players around me that's getting paid top dollar, and I'm the NFL sack leader back-to-back years. I deserved my contract, and it was hard for him to get that, especially at a premium position, pass rushing position. So I'm glad he got his raise, about $14 million. He's 30 years old. I believe he has 3 years left, including this year. So he's getting his money this year, and I believe he has at least 2 productive years left. So I would think this may be the last year in the Cincinnati Bengals uniform, unless they come and drop big money without any hesitation or questions asked.
I think out of all the players who are looking to get paid this offseason, he's that one I put at the top of the list. He's the first one I think of. Hey, he deserves a raise. And I think the Bengals, after that play in the preseason where you see Burrow just running around and the offensive line not blocking, that's when they said, hey, we need to pay Trey Hendrickson because we're not going to win if it's just offense on the field. Amari Cooper re-signs with the Las Vegas Raiders, the team that originally drafted him. Would you have preferred to see him back in Buffalo?
No. I prefer to see him continue his NFL career and continue make NFL money. So I'm glad that he was able to go back to basically where he started with the Raiders, and I think he can provide some type of on the field impact for Geno Smith and Pete Carroll and that Raiders team. So good for him.
Sully goes to the Dolphins. I think my first reaction was wanting to throw up. What was your first reaction?
Who was that? Douglas?
Yep.
I didn't have too much of a reaction. I think he's still.
Why was he not sought after in free agency?
It's interesting. It's hard to say. I know that he wasn't the player he was the year before when he got traded mid-season and he was making a whole bunch of impactful plays. But I do believe that he was still a capable player. That was just possibly just looking for the right home. He probably wanted a little bit more than other teams was willing to pay him. So you got to have that. You got to have that humbling experience to realize what your market is, and then I believe he got that call, and Miami Dolphins. Everybody at the end of their career, people don't mind going to Miami at the end of their career.
I also think we live in this era of the NFL where it's an ever-changing landscape where Rasul and Amari Cooper and multiple other guys who are maybe on the wrong side of 30, they wait till after training camp because they're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go out and do training camp with the guys and play.
We've seen that with Keenan Allen, who just signed back with his old team, the Chargers.
Yeah. So we see it all the time. Terry McLaurin gets paid extension, $96 million, I believe it's a 3-year extension. Is he a top 10 receiver in your book?
I believe he's close, man. I believe, obviously it's an argument. I think you can argue between that 7 and 10 range for Scary Terry. I believe the market he was in and how the Washington Commanders was perceived before Jaden Daniels came to the Washington Commanders. I believe that hurt his stock in terms of being a known player. But I think he's becoming more of a household name. We're talking about 5 straight years with over 1,000 yards. He had 13 touchdowns last year. Terry McLaurin is definitely a fringe top 10 receivers, and he's definitely one of the better receivers in the NFL, and he deserves all of his contract.
That's fair. Last topic around the league I have. I think the first time you and me started doing a show, started talking, the big conversation for the Bills was J.J. Watt. This was back when he was released by the Texans, and the Bills were kind of in the mix there. Mm-hmm. And you and me both had the same thought. everybody always thinks the Bills are going after these guys or trading for these guys, and it's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Who's the big name now, Rich? It's Micah. It's Micah Parsons.
Yes.
Micah Parsons in Dallas.
Yes.
Have you seen the situation play out? Do you know what's going on right now?
As far as I know, obviously Micah Parsons, he wants a contract. Jerry Jones seems like he wants to give him some type of contract, but only between the discussion of him and Micah specifically. He doesn't want his agent involved whatsoever. That seems like a disrespectful thing, I guess, around the NFL circles, especially to Micah Parsons. Jerry Jones has been publicly, throwing shade at Micah Parsons. And Micah Parsons last week comes out, he's sitting on the stretcher, he's doing all kind of crazy antics himself. So it just looked like a bunch of shit going on in Dallas once again.
Excuse your French.
Yeah,
Excuse your French real quick.
Yeah, it seems like a lot going on, man.
So there's a couple points I want to bring to your attention, just in case you're unaware.
Come home, Micah. No, let me stop. Go ahead.
So Jerry Jones went on. Who was he on with? Stephen A. I think last week, and he said that him and Micah. I don't know if the agent was a part of this or not, but he said that him and Micah had come to an agreement. Now this is from Jerry Jones, so you got to kind of take what he says with it. Yeah, but the conversation kind of swung to the agent, because this agent, I don't know his name off the top of my head, but he's dealt with other players who he has rejected offers and they've got traded. There was this long discussion I saw. I wish I had remembered it. It's been a crazy day, but there's a discussion now that Jerry Jones is trying to flip it, because he wanted Micah to send the contract, and apparently the agent said something like, "We're not effing signing that," or something like that. So I don't know where it goes. Micah, he's not going to be a Buffalo Bill under any circumstances.
I don't know. Hey, Poppy, I don't know that, Poppy. I don't know that. until I see where Micah Parsons is going, I don't know. I don't know. What is the likelihood? No, it's the likelihood. The likelihood is.
I can't hear
marginal.
You, by the way.
The likelihood is probably marginal, but Micah, let a guy dream. Let a guy dream. Micah Parsons is a player that, in my opinion, the Buffalo Bills should indeed want to covet. We've had trouble getting to Patrick Mahomes 4 times. We can't provide no pass rush. None of our players can win, just straight up win one. Like, you know what? Line up against your man, go one-on-one and just beat him. There's no stunts. There's no coaching involved. Just line up and beat your guy. And the Buffalo Bills for the last 4 seasons has been unable to do so. So if you have an opportunity to entertain the chance to get a Micah Parsons, in my opinion, you go for it. You try to make it happen. How much first-round picks you want? You want 1 first-round pick? Fine. You want 2? That's fine. You want players involved? That's fine. If we can financially fit him in the Buffalo Bills roster, I would definitely entertain the Micah Parsons. Is it going to happen? Probably not, but one can dream.
You made one point in there that was logical. One. Hey, Rich, I'm not saying that I don't want Micah Parsons. I would love Micah Parsons on the Bills.
We all would.
Financially, it will not happen. There's not a way. With the salary cap the way that it currently is, it is not possible. Unless, and this is asking a lot. I mean, you're trading guys like Curtis Samuel, 𝐬𝐿𝐫𝐚𝐺, who have larger contracts that are, maybe for guaranteed money. But is that of interest to Dallas? I know they're stupid sometimes, so maybe it would be. But I would love Micah Parsons. And yeah, dream all you want, man, but don't come on here talking about it anymore. I don't want to see it.
Let me ask you a question. But the last question before we go, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate everybody for tuning in to Rich Talk. We have over 700 people watching right now. Appreciate everybody. Myself, Dan Kelly.
I can't see the numbers over here. I don't know.
Yeah, we got 700 currently 708.
Thank you, everybody, for coming out. I know you all came out because Rich, but I'm glad to be here, glad to talk, and we're going to be doing this throughout the season.
Yeah, it's definitely a great show. Definitely a great show. Damn, I think I just missed my point on what I wanted to say. about okay,
Micah.
yes, no, yeah, about Micah, but it's more about the general manager. We speak
Okay.
about that, right? We speak about we don't have no money. I'm looking around, I'm seeing, you just said the Baltimore Ravens have a stacked roster. We probably could agree the Philadelphia Eagles have a stacked roster. A lot of rosters are very good rosters. And then we're talking about the Buffalo Bills not having no money, but yet we listing some concerns we have on the Buffalo Bills roster. We're concerned with the safety position. We're concerned with the cornerback position. We have questions to answer at the wide receiver position. What is your thoughts on Brandon being the general manager? I know where we're at. I know where we came from, but now I look at it as support and resistance. And once you beat a certain support level, now you have another level to reach in support and resistance. So where do you evaluate Brandon Beane? Do you think he's done a remarkable job since coming over to the Buffalo Bills? And do you think he has to remain status quo or get better in any areas? Now we'll get out of here.
You always save the freaking toughest question for last. This is a great question, first of all. And I think it's one that everybody has maybe regarding McDermott. I don't think enough is talked about Brandon Beane.
And it's tough, but I have to ask, because the Buffalo Bills, we have the lowest amount of cap space left in the National Football League. And should I be concerned with having as much possible concerns as we have in multiple positions while not having any money? Is that a problem, or am I just bugging out here? What's your thoughts? Or comment section, what you think on Brandon Beane?
You answer first. I'm going to move my setup here. I need to sit down.
I think Brandon, there's levels to coaching and to GM and to everything, right? I think there are guys that just can't coach or just is not good GMs and just not that good. And then I think there is coaches and GMs that are good, that can start a team up, set a team up, get them on the right track, the winning culture, and then they can't necessarily take them to the next level, the next step, and elevating them over the top. And that's how it's starting to creep in. Of course, Andy Reid didn't win his first Super Bowl until he got with the Chiefs many, many years later. But that's what's starting to creep in for me. I have a fear that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott is on a certain tier, and that tier is roster building and roster construction and doing things the right way. They have that philosophy down pat. They know what winning looks like. They know what the roster construction and what's needed to win. But I don't know if they are the guys that can take that now and go to the next level, that next bracket, that next tier, and that's playing against elite coaches in big games and winning these games. That's making the right moves in the off season to take your team over the top to hoist that Lombardi trophy and get past your competition. So I think that Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are excellent coaches and an excellent GM. I'm just not sure if they're good enough to take that next championship step, because we've been in this crossroads or this bracket or this tier for some time. How long can we remain in this tier before that window is quote unquote closed? So that's where I'm at with Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott.
I like that analysis. If you guys are unaware, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐿 is my grandfather. He's about 84 years old compared to me, who's about 28. And the reason that I bring up age here, 𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐿, is I need to take you back to before Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott. 17 years of no success. 3 years of 6-10 seasons. 1 year of almost making the playoffs and losing to the goddamn Raiders of all teams to knock us from contention. Brandon Beane is a top 5 GM in the NFL. And there's multiple reasons why I can say that. But the reason that you're looking for is, first of all, he's a wizard when it comes to this cap space. We've seen him move money around and bring in the guys he needs to bring in. The thing that I get confused by on what you said is, hey, we've seen this for years. We've all seen it. The Bills can't get over the hump. Coaches coach, players play. So let's go back to 13 seconds. That is a coaching mishap. We can agree on that. I think there's no way you play that kind of defense in that situation.
Yep.
What about last year? What about last year against Kansas City? Sean McDermott, Bobby Babbage, Joe Brady, none of them had a big gaffe or a big mistake that led to us losing the game. So I watched a video from formerly PFT a few weeks ago talking about the Bills. And one of them said, is it possible that for the last 4 years, the Bills have been good enough to win, but the ball just didn't bounce their way? And then he sits back and he takes a minute and he says, yeah, it is possible. I don't completely agree with that. I think there have been some issues, but coaches coach, players play. We need to get to the point where both of it is happening at the same time. Why does this system work so good in the regular season every single year? We're a top 3 seed. We're number 1 in the division 5 years in a row. But why does our team, our scheme, everything just break down in the playoffs? It doesn't make any sense. It makes the opposite of sense. So if you ask me about Brandon Beane, I think he's great. I think he's fantastic. I think he's doing everything he can. I think we need to come back to this. In a couple of years, we see a couple more drafts from him and see what he can do with those players. Because those teams you mentioned, those Philadelphia Eagles, those Baltimore Ravens, those stacked teams, they draft well. You don't get a Micah Parsons typically in a trade, and that's your guy. Obviously, we've seen it with Khalil Mack. You draft those guys, and that's how you get production. I have a lot of belief in this coaching staff. When it comes to the Sean McDermott question, is Sean McDermott the head coach to win the Bills a Super Bowl? You asked me 2 years ago, I say yes. You ask me now, I don't know. I don't not have belief in him, but it's tough. It's tough coming out here year after year, hey, Rich, when they come just 1 step short or 2 steps short.
And we're going to see what happens this year. It is frustrating, but we're going to definitely be here. We're definitely going to be along with the ride.
Michael
along
Scott,
for the ride.
I'm ready to get hurt again.
I'm ready to hoist the Lombardi Trophy, man. So we're gonna hope that happens. But Dan Kelly, this has been an excellent show, man. Going on an hour and a half. Excellent show. 754.
Man, this is longer than I'm used to freaking talking. I need some vocal rest.
Yeah, this was awesome, man. Appreciate everybody for tuning in for Rich Talk Rich Talk featuring myself, Rich, my buddy, my brother Dan Kelly, my first ever host as I debut the show. Appreciate everybody on X, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. And again, next week I'm gonna be back. This is going to be a consistent thing. Rich Talk with Rich. Dan Kelly, I'm gonna try to have him on next week as well. We're going to deep dive and discuss. We're going deep. We definitely going to deep dive and discuss. The upcoming matchup with the Baltimore Ravens on September 7th, Sunday Night Football, man. So it's an excellent show. Dan, anything else you got to say before we get out of here?
Heck yeah. If you're not already, please go follow the Kelly Cast on YouTube and on Facebook. That's where you can find me and Mike doing our thing. Honored to be here talking football with Rich. It's one of my favorite things to do. Yes, we went on for a long bit, but the episodes will continue to get better. The chemistry is there as it always is. And go Bills.
Go Bills, ladies and gentlemen, from Rich, Akeem Richens, Dan Kelly, Rich Talk with Rich. Until next time, peace. Go Bills.